Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Bit of an unplanned, unscheduled, last minute couple of days out, as I mentioned in my previous video. I discovered like yesterday or the day before that I had a few free days, and something that me and Greg have been talking about doing over the past few weeks is the Great Glen Way in Scotland, which is, it's about 60 miles from Fort William, along the edge of a couple of lochs, Loch Ness and Loch Lochy, I think, from Fort William up to Inverness. I know Greg's done it in the past with his son on e-bikes a few years ago. We've talked about doing it again.
Speed limit camera ahead.
We've talked about doing it again maybe in October, and when I discovered I had a few free days, I thought, you know what, I'm going to nip up there and ride it. Minor drawback: the gravel bike that I built recently, the Chesini, which I'll put a picture of it here. That's another story. That's another video in itself. But basically, I was wanting to build a gravel bike or buy a gravel bike. The one I really had my heart set on was a Ridley Kanzo Fast, which is like an aero road version of a gravel bike. It's a fast gravel bike. It all gets a bit distorted at this end, doesn't it? You get aero road bikes, aero gravel bikes, which can also be used as aero road bikes. Anyway, Ridley Kanzo Fast, beautiful looking bike, quite a lot of money. You tend to custom build them. Really fancied one, but thought it was probably out of my reach. So I set about building a gravel bike from parts. Looking for a frame, I found this Chesini frame and did a bit of research and found it's actually a very lovely hand-built Italian frame. I found the frame, well, looked at it on the website. I saw it was the exact one being advertised for sale on eBay at a fraction of the price it was available from Chesini from. So I put a cheeky offer in, which was luckily accepted, and I bought the frame set. Then I set about building it up with SRAM rival axis and some carbon scribe gravel wheels, prime carbon handlebars and stem and seat post, making a really lovely build of it. What else did I do with it? The crank set was a real issue. I didn't know when I bought it, and it was a real pain. But the crank set, it was built to take this specific Ingrid crank set, available only in Italy. What a pain. Spacers and messing about with import in this crank set. Anyway, got it built, got it all built up. Super excited to take it out for its first ride, and it wasn't quite working very well. The gears and the crank set and stuff, I built it exactly to the manufacturer's instructions, and as they had it built on the website. Again, I'll put a picture of it here. I built it exactly as it was, and it wasn't quite working right, and it wasn't quite working how I really hoped it would be. I then got a different front chainring. It was originally built up with a 40-tooth chainring. I then got a 44-tooth, but then some of the gears wouldn't work, and it was being a real pain. Anyway, a couple of days ago, when I realised that I had this chance to whiz up to Scotland, I have got some automatic sort of eBay searches set up, and a Ridley Kanzo Fast appeared for sale in Middlesbrough at a particularly good price, a very good price. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to whiz up to Middlesbrough, hopefully buy this basically unridden Kanzo Fast, and then take it up to Scotland for a bit of a test drive on the Great Glen Way. So it's a stupidly last minute thrown together couple of days, but you know what, sometimes that's the best way to do these things, isn't it? My Chesini that I mentioned isn't working very well. That's actually in Magic's bike shop at the moment, so they're having a look at it, seeing if they can figure out what's going on with it. And my plan is, if they fix it, great, I'll give it a ride. I'll obviously have a ride of the Kanzo. Whichever one I prefer, I'll probably sell off the other one. see how it goes. I might not, but that's the plan, and that's how I'm telling myself it's okay to buy it, is because I'm going to sell the other one off. Alternatively, the Scribe Aero carbon wheels, if I stuck some road tyres on them, would work very nicely for a road set of wheels for the Kanzo. So we'll see what's what, but basically, if I don't like the Kanzo fast, if it's too aggressive, then when I get it back down to Norfolk, I will comfortably sell it for what I paid for it. I'll probably get my petrol money back as well. It's a real bargain. It's an honest sale. It's not stolen or anything hideous like that. It looks like a genuinely honest sale. Someone who bought it, didn't like it, never used it, and is selling it. But it's beautiful. So anyway, yeah, I'm on the road trip now. I'm heading up to Middlesbrough. Current ETA is, where are we? 8:57 p.m. And then how far it is from Middlesbrough to Fort William, I don't know, but I'm going to hopefully pick up the Kanzo, unless there's anything desperately awful about it. If it's knackered and it's not worth buying, then I'm kind of in the mire because I've not got another bike with me. But all going well. If it's as good as it looks in the pictures and as good as the description I've discussed with the owner, then I'll pick that up in Middlesbrough about 9 o'clock, probably leave there about 9:30, and then head up to Fort William. I'm not sure how far it is from Middlesbrough to Fort William, let's say 3 hours, I guess. And then I'll pitch up somewhere in a car park, get a bit of sleep, and then I will get the bike set up first thing tomorrow morning. I've got my pedals with me, I've got all my bike packing bags, Garmin, water bottles, I've got everything else bar the bike. So yeah, bit of a mad adventure, but could be a bit of fun. Weather looks okay, got plenty of cycling gear for all eventualities, and I will catch up with you once I've picked this bike up, I imagine. We have made it to Scotland. What a long journey it is, particularly if you leave Norfolk and go south of London before heading up to Fort William. But I am nearly there. I left Norwich at 2 p.m. yesterday, did a lap of the M25, dropping a bike off at Greg's, and then came straight up the M1 and the A1 via Carlisle up to Scotland. I'm now about an hour away from Fort William, so I'm nearly there. I drove until 2 a.m, so I drove for pretty much 12 hours straight, bar a couple of stops. Obviously stopped in Middlesbrough to pick the bike up. As you can see maybe behind me, the Kanzo is there. It's amazing. I don't think it's been ridden. It's absolutely spotless. There's not even a speck of dirt on it. I genuinely think it's never been sat on. So picked that up about 9 o'clock, and then another 5 hours up into Scotland. 2 a.m. I pulled over in a lay-by and got a good 7 hours sleep. Now I'm back up on the road with just the last bit of the journey to do before I arrive at Fort William. We've got some blue sky, we've had some sunshine, the weather's looking good. I forgot my contact lenses, which is kind of annoying, but luckily I brought my glasses, so I shall be bespeckled from now on, but that's not a problem. Forgetting my glasses, that would have been a major issue, but I got my glasses. We're all good. So yeah, about another 45 minutes to an hour, I think, to Fort William, and then I've got to work out where I'm going to park, get this bike out and get cracking on this bike ride. I'm so excited. Scotland's an amazing place. It's a long drive, but it is so worth it when you get here. Incredible views. We are just driving into the Glencoe mountain range now. Stunning, stunning place. Haven't been here for, oh my god, how long? I did the 3 Peaks challenges in about 2000. I guess. So I came up here to do Ben Nevis. I've walked up Ben Nevis 3 or 4 times between sort of 1990 and 2000 as part of Three Peaks challenges, and just doing a bit of mountaineering before I started my running journey, really. So I came up here a few times then, and it takes your breath away every time when you come to Glencoe. Busy up here now. Look at these car parks, absolutely rammed with cars. Oh my word, absolutely heaving, not a free space anywhere. This is crazy. And you can see why with views like this. Yeah, here's another one, absolutely packed, this car park. Coaches, camper vans, rented camper vans. I can't moan too much, I'm in one, I'm up here as well, but you know, look at these stunning views. Minutes now until we arrive at Fort William. Almost there. Well, I've just parked the van in this little car park just near where the Great Glen Way starts. It's a small little shopping precinct in amongst the hills. Popped into the pharmacy. The lady says I'm completely fine to park here overnight without any worries at all. So all going well, the van should be here when I get back. So it's time to finally get cracking, get the bike out and get on with it. So I'm just setting off. This is Neptune Steps on the canal, just outside of Fort William, and we are on our way. A few miles in, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles, something like that. Bit of a headwind, but chugging along quite nicely. But I didn't expect to see boats this big coming on the Great Glen Way. What a whopper, what about that? Huge great thing. Anyway, cracking on. First little climb completed, just left the canal for a few minutes, crossed over the canal, then had a little climb, and now coming down the other side. Another big off-road climb done. Just trying to keep the effort super easy, getting the easiest gear, spin up them and enjoy the view. Just coming over the top of this climb, so you can see what my Garmin says. Can you see that? I don't know. But there we go, top of the climb done. Should be a downhill coming up, I guess. What is it with me and road closed diversions? Just happened on the Great Glen Way. Road closed, I'm on the detour. I've never seen a prettier detour though, look at this. What a place. Incredible. 17 miles in. When I get about halfway, I've got that decision to make about whether I'm going to do the whole thing, stay the night in a hotel at the end, and then the whole thing back again, or whether I'm just going to go halfway, turn around and go home again. I'll see how these hills go. It's all good so far. I'm really trying just to keep it easy, keep it light, no hurry, enjoy the journey. So preserving energy. Hopefully there'll be somewhere to stop for lunch, or you know, a cup of coffee and a bit of cake or something in the next 10 miles. That'd be quite nice, but all good so far. Lovely bit of downhill. Just about 22 miles in, I think. Just stopped and had a lovely chat with a nice guy who's cycling the other way. He told me about a diversion that's up ahead for me. I told him about a diversion that's up ahead for him. But it's beautiful. Sun's out now, getting quite warm. Might have to take this long sleeve layer off and go down to short sleeves. But just crossed over the canal back there. There was a kiosk coffee machine which I decided to ignore, but he's told me there's a cafe up ahead which I'm looking forward to. But look at this weather. Woo! It's beautiful. A few diversions there for logging operations and things like that, but we are back on the course and a bridge of Oik up there in the distance somewhere, and lovely. We had a little bit of tarmac there which was pretty awful. Lorries overtaking and all that nonsense. Getting a little bit despondent, but back on the cycleway and we're feeling good again. Stopping at this canal lock because the boats are coming through, so you can see the water level changing. Okay, so I made the decision at Fort Augustus, which is about 32 miles in, to turn around and go back to Fort William rather than to carry on to Inverness and then do the same again tomorrow, but in reverse. Woo, little climb. Mainly because I don't think back-to-back 65-mile days is exactly what I need in my Ironman taper. And I've probably got what I want out of doing half of the Great Glen Way, which is a beautiful ride. I stopped at Fort Augustus, had a quick cup of tea, couldn't get any lunch, everywhere was closed, had a cup of tea and a crappy bit of cake. Couldn't get anything much more than that, and the following 32 miles looks a lot more intense. So I figured carrying on with nothing much inside me was probably not a good idea. Anyway, I feel fine, and on my way into Fort Augustus, I had loads of tarmac, which I didn't really like. Woo, it's a steep downhill. Bear with. Yeah, I picked up loads of tarmac on the way into Fort Augustus, which I wasn't really too fond of, but anyway, coming back I've found where I should have been. I'm on some proper single track now, which I didn't come in on, so I'm having a slightly different route back, which is fun. I just managed to get my chain lodged between my cassette and my hub, which was a couple of panicky minutes, but I got it free again and we're off rolling again. So heading back this way, it's probably about 5 p.m. now. It's still lovely and warm and nice, a bit cloudier, but it means I get back to the van about 8 o'clock or so, hopefully get something to eat, and then I can find something else to do tomorrow, another ride, or head halfway home and do a ride in Yorkshire or the Peaks or something like that. But yeah, for now I'm just winding my way back on some fun single track. 46 miles in now, well on the way back, probably halfway back I think. Just coming out of the woodland into the sunshine, back down by the canal again. Beautiful ride. Back on tarmac again. A couple of miles more I think. Just found out it's absolutely chucking it down all day at home. Good weather all day, fabulous day. Nearly back to the van. And with 60 miles on the route so far, I am almost done. I think 62 miles will be finished. Looks like I got a lot of cycle route 78 on the way out. But yeah, I found the bits I missed of the Great Glen Way on the way back in again. So it looks like you have to choose one or the other. Cycle route 78 has a lot more tarmac. Great Glen Way has a lot more single track. So I've done a good mixture of both, going out and back from Fort William to Fort Augustus and back again. No rain, lovely all day. This bike has been incredible. I actually took a bit of a gamble picking up this Ridley Kanzo Fast on the way up to Scotland yesterday. Picked it up in Middlesbrough on my drive up. Bought my pedals and some spanners to be able to set it up right for me, but it was the right size anyway. Shoved my bike packing bags on it, my Garmin on it, and it's been incredible. What a fabulous bike. I got it for such a bargain that I thought if I don't like it, I'll be able to sell it when I get home and cover the cost on the trip on it. But sadly, I'm going to have to tell my wife now that it's not getting sold. It's going to stay in the garage. It's a lovely bike, handles so well, handles some really good single track, and on the tarmac it's as quick as a road bike. So awesome bike, lovely riding position, 36 centimetre bars at the front, feel great, and it's super well balanced and nimble. Fabulous bike. Anyway, heading back now to finish, go and find some dinner. Lunch was a bit of flapjack and a weak cup of tea. That was rubbish. I'm going to make up for that hopefully when I get back down to Fort William, but hope you've had a good few days. Let me know what you've been up to. Let me know how your training's going. Hope my coach is okay with me doing a 60-mile gravel ride in first week of taper, but I will stick to the plan more closely. I just had to get this off my chest and out of my system for now, but I've loved it. There'll be a lot more coming. Anyway, take care. See you on the next video. See you later. Bye. Just before you go, yesterday's ride finished at the foot of a massive climb, which I really wanted to do because it's the biggest climb of the Great Glen Way. So I've come back the next day, parked about 5 or 6 miles away from my turnaround point at Fort Augustus. I'm going to make sure I've ticked this big climb off.